and energy. Amazing.
Wow.
Crazy.
Well, salud. I'm loving it.
Go to www.vitalizerapp.com and make your smartphone brilliant.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Hi, this is Faith. Welcome to the Faith Washington Show. We will discuss life, business, leadership, family, and fun, and what happens when your view of the world expands. A wide variety of guests will provide insight on how they do business, family, and leadership in their lives. So now, here's today's show. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We are live on Facebook at the Faith Washington Show and AMP2 TV Productions, as well as 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, and the iHeartRadio app, and Periscope. Let's not forget that. So, folks, with me tonight, I have Bill Troy, William Troy. Bill, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Faith. It's nice to be here.
And he is a coach for triathletes, like athletes in general. He's also a certified personal trainer, and he deals also with some special populations that have disabilities. His real passion, is super aging. And we're going to let Bill kind of define that so we know what super aging really means and what it's all about. Give us a little rundown on that.
Well, first of all, I'm 67 years old, and you can't see me over the radio, but I'm fairly...
But they can see you on Facebook, so look into the camera and say,
Hello. And I'm a relatively fit, youthful 67-year-old.
Yes.
And
shredded. Dude, you're shredded.
I attribute my mental state, my emotional state, my spiritual state, my physical state to practicing a life system, if you will, called super aging. And the way this came about, quite frankly, was through looking back at my life through the rearview mirror through the lens of difficulties that happened along the way. Illnesses, business setbacks, deaths in my family.
And you also said you are a cancer thriver.
And I am also a cancer thriver. We don't like to talk about cancer surviving. We talk about cancer thriving.
That's right.
And these setbacks, tragedies, if you will, and I look back at how I was able to come through them, not necessarily whistling Dixie, but happy, strong, well-adjusted, and prepared to help other people face the same challenges. And I looked at the things that I developed over a course of many, many years that enabled me to do that. And I realized there were a couple of core things that I call the system of super aging. It's quite simple, really. It involves spiritual connection or faith in God. When, for instance, my son passed away when he was 24 years old in 2006.
Wow.
Suddenly, it was a terrible tragedy. I didn't know how I was going to face it. I was very much lost and distressed as anybody. It's the worst that I can. But I immediately leaned very strongly into my faith and into God and into my spiritual connection, into my relationships with my family and friends and positive people in my life.
What stimulated you to do that? Other than the event itself, there has to be something within you that rises up that stimulates you to go that way instead of going in a direction that could be possibly self-medicating, self-destructive, looking at things in not such a positive light. Because think about it, 24 years old, your son, you're still alive, that person's no longer here. What brought that about?
That's a great question, Faith. Why would I choose? it was very clearly as if I was looking down the proverbial path that goes either way. Okay, there was a fork
the fork in the road.
Fork in the proverbial fork in the road, and down one road there was despair, there was unhappiness, there was pain, and I looked down the other road, and I saw hope. I didn't necessarily know what was down that road, but I saw that down that road was hope. And I had, fortunately, a background, a parental background, a family background, a basis that as I look back in the rearview mirror, that had allowed me to even have that option available. Now, it might have been just my luck, but it was there, and that's the road I took.
Do you really believe it was luck?
Well,
no, you don't.
No, I don't. I believe that God brought me to that space.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. It's never luck. It's not serendipity. It's not coincidence. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience.
Absolutely. That's so well said, Faith. And having that in my life was what made that choice possible.
Love the word choice.
I leaned into that choice. I leaned into it heavily. I also had practiced physical exercise and physical fitness for my whole life. I was an athlete as a young man, and I played college athletics, and I had become very active in the sport of triathlon and doing Ironman triathlons and marathons and so forth. And
do you feel that physical activity, that physical outlet, helped to release some of the duress and the stress that really tends to build up in our physical body? Because no matter whether we admit it and acknowledge it or not, it's there, especially if you're a really physical being.
Absolutely. This is why there's 4 legs to being a superager, and we'll get to that later.
Yes.
And the first one and most important one is a spiritual connection, and you can
call it
what you will, but there's no getting around it.
Nope.
It's what it is. Second one is physical fitness, exercise. You need to take care of your physical body. We are spiritual beings inhabiting physical bodies, but we can't neglect the physical body. As a matter of fact, having this in my background was another gift. It was there when I really needed it, and I'm grateful for it. I had cultivated it, and it was there when I needed it. So the second leg of superaging, if you will, is physical exercise and taking care of your body.
Right.
So now thirdly, you have to be careful what you put into your body.
And this is, folks, huge. So for anybody who works out, takes care of themselves, does any sort of progression to the nth degree where you can actually see a difference in your physical being, this portion of it, I'd say it's probably about 90%. 5%'s working out, 5% sleeping. And what's that 90%?
What you put in your body. It's interesting, that's a good point, Faith. There's an old saying, you can't out-exercise a bad diet.
That's right, baby. That's right.
And it's true. You can't do it. So, yeah, what you put in your body is extremely important. It's important not just for the way you look physically and making you strong. It's very important for your brain, okay? Ultimately, a lot of what we're talking about right now does not have to do with being buff and looking great physically.
Right.
These are nice side effects. But what we're talking about in this process of superaging is having a strong, healthy soul and mind and brain. And what we're finding more and more is that, it's not inevitable that we have a cognitive decline. We can do a lot of things to prevent cognitive decline. We can stay sharp and vital into our later years. it's a matter of practicing a few simple things. And when I looked back at what took me through times of distress and hardship, I realized it was real easy to see, looking in the rearview mirror, how I was able to do it.
Right.
And of course, the fourth leg of this, after we've taken care of our spiritual self,
Clean eating, the nourishing of the body
yes,
and the mind with what you eat,
What you
drink,
put in.
breathe.
Mhm.
Eat, drink, breathe. Okay, those are all things that go inward.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
After doing that, then we come to the
cognitive, and we're
which
addressing
means
it means
explain
your ability
cognitive.
to think. It's
Your ability to think.
It's
So in other
basically
words,
your ability to and do what they call executive functions.
Right.
Higher
Higher
functions, which
Higher
are the things
scope.
allow you to think, make decisions, have a good memory.
memory. Ooh, okay. This is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You and I
Very
both know that this is huge because the rise of Alzheimer's, dementia, all of these different disease states that affect our brain are because of the things that you've done over the last 40, 50 years. And it's cumulative. And we can avoid that. And I think that's really what we spoke about, dealing with the younger clients that you have is having that impact.
Absolutely. What we want to do is start to develop. Now, first of all, I should say at this point that it's never too late to start practicing. It's never too late. The day to start this is now. It's not whether you're 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, wherever you are in your journey, now is the time to start this. But what we're finding is that cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia, those sorts of things that we all like to avoid are not necessarily our lot in life. We know that things like meditation and spiritual practice are immensely helpful in helping your cognitive system stay in top working order.
Why do you think that is?
Well,
Why do you think that? Because meditation is something that a lot of people don't really understand. They hear the word and maybe they think it's this ethereal, wow, I got to get into this seated weird position and do something strange, which really is not what meditation is. Meditation is focus and breathing and the mindfulness or the ability to stay in the present moment.
Exactly.
Which we spoke before the show a lot about that.
Yeah. And now, why does that work to forestalling cognitive decline? That's a great question.
Yes.
Okay. What happens is that when we practice mindfulness or meditation or very by keeping our mind in a very relaxed state, there's a type of house cleaning that goes on in the brain, and that's where we get rid of defective cells, are swept away and washed away. When we're in a constant state of agitation or worry or wakefulness, those cells build up. They build up debris in our brain. When those, and this is, I'm speaking in everyday terms.
Right, instead of
the science behind
the
this.
cortisol and what
Exactly.
happens to all of the cells within the brain.
But this is science, and we find
Absolutely.
that in the meditative state that the debris of our brain is washed away, and we become refreshed mentally. Physical exercise, same thing. It has an immense
Flushes.
It makes our muscles strong.
Flushes your brain and your spinal column to the nth degree, like you would never get doing anything
Well, we're
else.
finding out that it does even more than that, Faith. What we're finding out that physical exercise, in addition to doing what you might think it would do by forcing blood to the deep capillaries of the brain, thus by giving it more nourishment, but we're finding out that it actually causes new constructs of auxiliary capillaries and venous construction, so that you have the ability, your brain has the ability to construct new pathways, which then, of course, you have new blood pathways, new neural and neuron pathways start to occur in the brain through physical exercise.
So, in other words, what you're stating is that with physical activity, with meditation, with connecting your brain and your body together, that the mind and the body are able to form new ways of thinking,
Absolutely.
being, and doing. New ways of thinking, being, and doing. And we call that neuroplasticity.
Exactly.
And that neuroplasticity is the key to creating something different than what you've experienced your whole entire life. And that for me was critical and key when I wanted to go from doing what I'd done for many years to doing something completely and totally different, doing a 180 that nobody would ever imagine. Whoa, you went from this to this? Yeah, I did. And that's because of neuroplasticity.
Exactly. Diet,
Food.
nutrition. Okay.
Water. What's good
now?
for
What
it?
are you? Now you've decided. Okay, you're going to be cleaning your brain in meditation. You're going to be opening new neural pathways through exercise. Now, what are we going to feed the brain through these new veins and arteries and neural
Great
pathways
stuff.
we have? What are we going to do with that? Okay, what are you going to feed it?
Great
Well,
stuff.
we want to feed the brain and the rest of our bodies for that matter, because every system in our body, our endocrine system, our skin, our skeletal system, our cardiovascular system, our renal system, you name it, all of these systems are greatly benefited by these processes as well. But let's face it, what really matters as we get older and age is keeping our marbles, being able to perform executive functions, developing neuroplasticity. These are the things that are going to give you the ability to stay healthy and vital and very happy into your later years. So we want to be able, we want to feed the brain.
Let's you know what? Feeding the brain, yes. But let's make this tiny little distinction between happiness and joyfulness.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Let's make that distinction, because lots of people want to pursue happiness. Everyone wants to be happy.
Right.
Okay, happy is circumstance.
Yeah.
In other words, it's an external driven force.
Absolutely.
And then joyfulness comes from your spirit. Joyfulness comes in those moments at all times that you have a choice. You get to choose. All right? Am I going to live in this present moment, or am I going to live in the past and let it rule me? Or am I going to look to the future and think that it's better than what I have right now? Right?
No doubt. And it's so important to make that distinction, because happiness is fleeting.
Totally fleeting.
You know, I'm happy. Oh, I got a new dress. I'm happy. You know, my
External. It's externally driven.
Whatever. I got the new job. I'm happy.
For about 10 minutes.
Exactly. Joy doesn't change because of circumstance.
Right.
Joy has to do with you, who you
Permanence.
are. Yeah. Okay. Who are you? What's going on inside? And
Spiritual.
it's not
That's the spirit. Because
Exactly.
remember, just like we talked about before the show, and this is a distinction that folks can think about too, is that you're made up of this being that is going to live eternally. You've been here forever. You're going to live eternally. No matter whether you have a distinction about that or not, it doesn't really matter. That part of you that is the you, that's always you, that observes everything, doesn't change. It's always watching. It's paying attention. It's looking at everything.
Why? And how does that happen? Because that's the part of you that's connected to God.
Exactly. That is your divine direct connect. Divine direct connect.
Exactly.
And then you have your mind and your subconscious. And those portions of you are the portions of you that are fear and doubt, and they talk to you in negative ways because they're trying to do their very best to protect you. That is the fight or flight system that says, my goodness, you know what? Fight or flight, we need to protect. Because if we don't protect you, who's going to protect you? But then when you recognize in the spiritual realm that you're already okay, you don't need protection, that everything's working out exactly as it should, you can trust God. You can trust that everything is as it should be, whether there's a hurricane, whether there's a tornado, whether your house is demolished. My house got trashed during this hurricane. I'm okay. It's all good.
It allows you to go forward without fear.
Yes. And that's the deal is no fear. And that's something else we talk about.
Yeah, because as we did talk about this, that love and fear can't exist in the same place.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
So
say that again.
I said
Bill.
that love and fear cannot exist in the same space.
Yeah. Absolutely cannot.
So
they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah, mutually exclusive. So there we have our spiritual connection.
Mm-hmm.
We have our exercise program, our physicality. We have
Food.
our diet. We want to make sure that we're giving the proper nutrition to this brain and to these systems in our. And then we want to have a directly cognitive portion to this. We need to challenge ourselves.
I love this. This is like so cool to hear him talk about this. You got to hear it.
We need to flex our mental muscles.
Yeah.
And so often we're told that we should stay active mentally, okay?
What does that look like?
Well, exactly. What does that look like? Is that doing the Sudoku on Sunday afternoon? Is that doing a crossword?
No.
Is it doing a crossword puzzle?
No.
Is that reading a romance novel?
No.
Or is,
I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way.
Or is that something that might look like learning a foreign language?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rosetta Stone, Zuri.
Okay. Or taking a college level course.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it something that maybe you want to start a business and it's out of your comfort zone?
You're scared.
Are you willing?
Wait,
You're scared.
there's fear.
Yeah.
Oh, Bill, there's fear.
But there'll be exactly. But that's what we want to be looking at. We want to establish some difficult cognitive tasks and really flex our mental muscles. So, these four pillars of super aging, if you will, that were nothing more than me looking back at my life and seeing what it was that brought me through difficult times, through all of the challenges that life brings, and life is going to bring you challenges. If it hasn't yet, just wait a couple of days because it's coming.
It's when, and we're going to be able to find Bill at Facebook page The Art of Super Aging with William Troy. Go there now if you can. The Art of Super Aging with William Troy. That's the Facebook page. And then the website is superager.online. Super, S-U-P-E-R, ager, A-G-E-R, .online. And then you can go and you can obtain his program about super aging. This is vital information, folks. Please, please, please avail yourself of it. It's there. He has tons and tons of content that he's put out in the form of webinars, seminars, many different things that are going to allow you to hear him at a very different level. I mean, this is just 30 minutes is nothing. It's very superficial, but please.
Yes, absolutely. And if you want to call me, you can call me.
Oh, yes. And what's that phone number again, please?
561 213
213
2239.
2239. Say it one more time. Say it into that camera.
561 213 2239.
Excellent. I love that. And something else that we were discussing, that there is nothing normal.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
Things are common, but they're not
what
normal.
I was saying is that we've been taught or led to accept a state of comfortable decline as normal, the normal way to age, and it's not. We've been sold a bill of goods where we retire from a job at a certain age, and then after a certain while we don't want to live in our house anymore, so we go to an assisted living center, and then we go to another state of more care and more care, and it's one step along the way to a pine box, and then we're done. And this has somehow been accepted as normal. Well, it's not normal. I would say that it's becoming common, but it's anything but normal. You are meant to live a healthy, vibrant, joyful, significant, important life. Impactful. There's so
Legacy.
much. So these later years should be the best years of your life in many, many ways. You can be of so much service to people in these later years. This is when your wisdom, your experience, all of that comes to bear, and you can become a really great person and a big help to those around you. Just a matter of practicing a few simple things. You can do them. I know you can do them. I've taught many people to do them. I do it myself, and it's a heck of a way to live. I'm telling you, and it's so much better. I highly recommend it.
It's so much better, and as you said, it's just common. The collective consciousness, we seem to have believed that, oh wow, you get over the age of 60 and it's time to retire. Well, about 10 years ago, I took that word out of my vocabulary. When people say retire, I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no such freaking thing as retire. You retire? No. You just keep living. You get stronger and better. And every year, that's my aim and goal. Every year is to get stronger and better and more joy-filled and have greater impact. Because, as you said, it's about wisdom. The wisdom and the spiritual strength that you have within you is there for a reason. Thank you. It's what we're meant to do. We're
Absolutely.
Meant to live fully, vitally, without any question.
For an entire life.
For your whole life. You're not just going to pass from this world and it's like you've passed out. We don't do the pass out thing. We're mindful, we're careful, we pay attention, and we live. And you know what? Eat the cake once in a while. Buy the dress, buy the shoes, have some fun. Enjoy your life, enjoy everything that you're about. God put you here for alignment with him, and whatever your gifts and talents are, use them wisely. And you can find Bill at superager.online. You can also go to his Facebook page, The Art of Super Aging with William Troy. Guys, we are live on Facebook, the Faith Washington Show page. We're also live on iHeartRadio app, Periscope, 95.3 FM, 1470 AM. What do you want to add? What's your last thing? Look at the camera and tell these folks something cool.
What I would... My passion is trying to help as many people as I possibly can achieve the type of life that I think God has in mind for you. Don't hesitate to contact me at any of these contact sites or call me directly at my telephone number. I'd love to have a conversation with you, and I look forward to meeting you in person.
561-213-2239. You can reach Bill direct. Please reach out and call him. Folks, thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure, Bill. I thank you so much for being here.
No, you're welcome.
And hopefully you'll come back.
Thanks, Faith.
All right. We'll see you next week, 7:30, Thursday night. Bye. You've been listening and watching The Faith Washington Show, where we have widened your view of the